don't believe we can save the world, but I believe that we can contribute in making this world a place that is more diverse, that is not dominated by a single species, but that is shared by many species. And this, to me and to us, really is the vision. I'm Christine. I'm a photographer, a filmmaker and a writer based in Austria. And my main focus, together with my partner Marc, is wildlife conservation. We were just assured that nature is our passion and that we want to use all our skills and dedication to make nature matter. The project is all about brown bears and how they can coexist, or rather how we can coexist with brown bears in Central Europe. What really fascinated us right from the beginning was the fact that Slovenia, as the bordering country to Austria, that you find one of the densest bear populations in the entire world, and in Austria you find practically no bears. So it's really interesting to see at the same time that you have a country, a very small country, where there's a lot of bears and a lot of people at the same time that can coexist. And so we figured that's something that we should talk about. We often hear the question, why do we need bears at all? It's actually that they plant our trees and our blueberries, for example, because they're important seed dispersers. As they feed on the seeds and disperse them through the forest again. But they are also, even though they're not actively hunting, they are regulating the ungulates because they feed on the weak and the sick individuals. And eventually they are also acting as a real health police because they also feed on carrion and they make sure that diseases cannot spread through the forest. They also really symbolize the wildness of nature, but also the wildness inside ourselves. And we believe that if we can connect or reconnect people with this wildness and let them see that even the largest predators are not the biggest enemies of us, but that they are part of our ecosystem, that they are part of our world, then I believe we can take a great leap in all nature conservation. What really made our project a long-term project and a still ongoing project is the techniques that we're using. First and foremost, it was all about documenting the bears themselves, and for this we used height photography as well as stalking them in the forest over the years. Most importantly, and probably the technique that was most crucial for our work and for bringing across the message, we used camera traps. Camera traps, they are quite elaborate and quite work intensive to be set up. It usually takes at least half a day, more a whole day, to have it all set up properly, to put your camera with a wide angle lens in a proper box. We learned that this is useful when working with large carnivores, to attach this to a structure that's also not moving, that cannot be sort of ripped apart. And to make sure that everything is set up in a way that you can photograph the particular animal so that it will work in your absence. There was basically nobody else in Austria who would pursue this career, so we had actually a hard time struggling to explain to people what we were up here and that what we did here did actually matter and was important, or at least we consider it important. Working as a team for the both of us is a huge asset because we both have our strong points and our weaker points, and so we can really combine the aspects that are the strongest of the both of us. Importantly, we come up with all sorts of ideas and to think it all through, to develop visions and then to work on these visions. And so this is really something that is a great thing to share. Why it was important to publish the material that we've produced also is because we really figured out and learned for ourselves that coexistence in densely populated Central Europe is feasible between large predators and people. This is something that many people in our places, many people in our home country, wouldn't consider at all an option. And we learned firsthand, and we could show with our images firsthand that this is possible. I guess the highlights for the both of us are really that our work pays off in the way that it's being noticed. But more importantly than receiving awards such as the Wildlife Photographer of the Year, the National Geographic publication that we had with our bears, is really the possibility to reach out to a larger public. The most valuable thing if you see that your work is being featured somewhere, and it's not just you as a photographer who's being praised, but it's all about spreading the word really, and that is what we are eager for and what we are aiming at. I truly believe that the power of photography and filmmaking can be used and should be used to talk about conservation, and words alone have not the same power as a moving image or as a still image. But what it takes in the beginning is really just your passion and something that you can relate to, something that is dear to you. And if you can unravel such a topic and talk about it passionately, then there will be somebody who is going to listen.